I should have just stayed quiet. That's it. That's the lesson. Because all I did was try to sound smart for one moment. And somehow, by the end of the day, I was leading a project I didn't understand. It started in a meeting, a normal meeting, the kind where everyone joins, nobody talks, and somehow it still lasts an hour. We were sitting around the conference table, laptops open, pretending to be engaged. Jessica Miller, my boss, was at the front. Straight posture, calm voice, the kind of person who says, "Any thoughts?" and somehow turns that into pressure. She looked around the room and said, "We need a better approach to this. The current process isn't working." Silence. Not normal silence. Strategic silence. The kind where everyone suddenly becomes very interested in their laptop screens. I should have joined them. I should have just nodded like everyone else. But no. That day, something inside me said, "This is your moment." So I spoke. "I think I might have a better approach." The second I said it, I felt it. That shift. The room went quiet. Not awkward quiet. Focused quiet. Now everyone was looking at me. Even Jessica. And she said, "Okay, go on." Go on? I had not planned for go on. There was no plan. Just confidence. Fake confidence. The most dangerous kind. So I started talking. "I think we need to streamline the workflow and maybe introduce a more scalable structure." I was using words. Big words. Confident words. Words that sounded like they belonged in a meeting. But if you asked me what they meant, I would have needed a moment. Or several. People started nodding, which was confusing, because I wasn't even sure what I was saying. One coworker leaned forward like this was revolutionary. Another typed something down. "Why are you taking notes?" "There are no notes here." Then Jessica nodded slowly and said, "That's interesting." Interesting. That word again. The corporate version of, "I'm about to give you responsibility." And then she said it. The sentence that ended my piece. "Why don't you put together a proposal?" A proposal. By me. For something I invented 30 seconds ago. And what did I say? Did I say, "Actually, I need more time to think"? No. Did I say, "Let's circle back on that"? No. I said, "Of course. Of course. Of course." I agreed like I had a full strategy ready. Like I had slides. Like I had data. I had nothing. The meeting moved on. Everyone went back to normal. But I didn't. Because now I had a deadline. And expectations. And absolutely no idea what I had just committed to. The moment I got back to my desk, reality hit. I opened my laptop, stared at a blank document, and typed, "Proposal." Then stopped. Because now what? I opened Google. Typed, "How to create a business strategy proposal." Then, "What is a scalable workflow?" Then, simple explanation of what I just said in a meeting. My tabs started multiplying. Videos, articles, templates. At one point, I had 17 tabs open, none of them helping. A coworker walked by. "Hey, how's the proposal coming along?" I smiled. That fake professional smile. "Good. Just refining the structure." Refining what structure? There is no structure. Time started moving faster. Deadlines always do that. 1 minute you have plenty of time. Next minute it's, "Why is it 4 p.m.? So I did what any desperate employee would do. I created something that looked impressive. Clean slides, nice headings, graphs, even a chart. Did the chart make sense? No, but it looked like it did. And sometimes that feels enough. I added words like optimization, efficiency, strategic alignment. Did I fully understand them? Not completely, but they sounded important. Then I looked at it, took a deep breath, and thought, this might actually work. That was my third mistake. So I sent it, confidently. No hesitation, no second check, just like before. The next morning, meeting. Again. This time, I was presenting. Me. The same person who had Googled everything 12 hours ago. I stood at the front. Laptop connected. Slides ready. Jessica nodded. Go ahead. So I started. This proposal focuses on optimizing our workflow through a scalable structure. Same words. Same confidence. Still no idea. At first, it worked. People were nodding. Again. Why do people keep nodding? This is not helping. Then came the questions. Jessica asked, how exactly would this improve our current process? Pause. Short pause. Too short. Because I didn't have an answer. I said, It creates more flexibility. What does that mean? Nobody knows. Not even me. Another coworker asked, what metrics are we using to measure success? Metrics? Now we're asking real questions. I clicked to the chart. The chart I made. The meaningless chart. This represents performance growth over time. Silence. Not the strategic silence. Not the safe silence. The dangerous one. Someone leaned forward. Based on what data? That's when everything collapsed. Because there was no data. Just confidence. And design. Jessica looked at me. Not angry. Not confused. Just waiting. Waiting for something real. I tried to explain. Words came out. But even I didn't believe them. Then someone said, wait, what problem are we solving again? And just like that, the entire room realized it. At the same time, we had a proposal. We had slides. We had charts. But we didn't have a problem. And I was leading it. Silence. Heavy silence. Jessica finally said, let's revisit this later. That's it. No shouting. No drama. Just that sentence. Which in corporate language means, this made no sense, but we'll pretend it can be fixed. The meeting ended. People packed up. Quietly. Some avoided eye contact. Others gave me that look. You know the one. Half sympathy. Half confusion. I sat there for a second. Processing everything. I didn't just try to impress my boss. I built an entire problem out of nothing. Later that day, Jessica sent me a message. Subject line. Follow up. I opened it slowly. Carefully. It said, we appreciate your initiative. Let's work on refining the execution. Refining the execution. Which means, you tried, but let's fix it before it becomes a real problem. And just like that, I wasn't in trouble, but I also wasn't impressive. Now, every time I'm in a meeting and someone says, any thoughts? I suddenly become very busy, typing, looking at my screen, avoiding eye contact, because I've learned something important. Sometimes, the best way to impress your boss is to say absolutely nothing. And honestly, it's been working perfectly.